and it has to become more normal, you know. And I know often people, they say, I'm not going to do this in the office. I'm not going to move my arms because, you know, I don't want to be silly. Well, what do you want to be in pain, or do you want to be silly, or do you want to be a trendsetter and people are going to do the exercises with you? I don't know. So, and there's also exercise you can do even during a Zoom session like this. Nobody will notice. You know, I can do an exercise now, you know, and you will not even see it. You will not even notice. This is actually a very good exercise I'm doing right now for my hips, and nobody can see it. So,
oh, wow. Yeah.
yeah. So I can teach you that as well. So, you know, the posture goes, you know, I just want to say that it's called posture therapy, but it's not, the end goal is not to improve your posture. The end goal is to get you out of pain. But posture is also influencing so many systems in the body, like the lungs, for example, you know, the guy on the left.
Good morning. This is the First Lady, Erica. Silent on the camera is Marvel Bliss. And today, and today we have our guest, holistic practitioner and healer, Patrick van Enschot. I had to try to say that this morning, but I'll let you say it properly. He's over in the Netherlands and is going to help us this morning and teach us a little bit about the history of healing, but also getting into what he does as a healer. And I think this is something that everyone needs, because a lot of healers, well, they're not necessarily healers, but doctors and chiropractors, their whole business is based on you consistently coming back. But what about the things you can do to heal yourself at home? So what I loved about Patrick and what he does is that he's teaching you so that you can take it home and you can use it for yourself. You know, this is something where it can come to full healing, correct, Patrick? Can you come to full healing? Rather than just putting a Band-Aid on the wound. But I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself and tell us more about yourself and what you want to share with us today.
Yes. Thanks, Erica. So my name, I'll try to pronounce it as well. Patrick van Enschot. It's with, you know, the Dutch, we have the hard G. I'm in the Netherlands and I've been practicing this method for the last 7 years. Actually, I have my own company helping people daily getting out of pain. The method is originally from the US. I'll go more into that later. Obviously, it's an American guy who invented it, and I'm not going to spend too much time on the history of medicine, because, you know, you can look that up, and I'm spending most of my time on what you can do yourself to get out of pain, because that is what I do every day, to get people to get themselves out of pain using a holistic method and not one of the old paradigms of healing, in fact. So, yeah, a little bit about the history. You know, before the 1900s, there were lots of homeopaths, natural doctors, all kinds of healers in the world. And, you know, I can limit it a little bit to the US, which at which point Rockefeller came in, and he was already a little bit rich with from his oil business, and he decided that he wanted to purchase a big share in a German pharmaceutical company, IG Farben, which you might have heard of in their role in the Second World War. Maybe you can look all this stuff up.
Wow.
yeah, not going to go too deep into it for obvious reasons, but well, we know the Rockefellers, and basically what he did is he declared all these natural healing methods to be quackery, and he set up a system of medical schools, which were really like drug schools, right? Pharmaceutical schools, to teach mainly students how to prescribe drugs, medicine, instead of doing the old style of healing, like the natural healers do, taking into account all aspects of the human body and the psyche, and just focusing on prescribing drugs. So his influence was very big, obviously. So he got the system set up of universities. Yeah, so that's how the modern medicine, I don't know, let's call it modern medicine, developed. And still to this day, it is like this. So we have this system where you go to you might go to your doctor, your general practitioner, you go to maybe a chiropractor, but it's usually based on symptoms, right? So you have symptoms and you expect someone else to heal you, to fix you, in fact. And I think it's very disempowering. I remember going to I haven't been to the doctor's office for, I don't know, many years, but when you go into the doctor's office, people there sitting there like, well, I'm sick and I'm broken and I need you to fix me. It's this another mindset, right? Of people wanting to be fixed, or the system has become like this. And it's slowly changing, I think, to people more being, seeing that lifestyle is important. There's so many things you can do for yourself. Eating healthy, that in 4 years of medical school, they get, I think, 1 hour on nutrition, the students.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
that's, yeah, this is.
I wanted to say something because apparently it makes sense for him to affect education and then affect medicine, because of course you need my educational system to move forward to medical, right?
Yeah.
So that is showing how that is a systematic approach to changing the world and getting rid of midwives and turning everything into basically turning home medicine into witchcraft, and just taking over the system.
It's about control. It's about control, right? So you want to control. You're going to say, no, these ancient practices, these midwives, they're no good, or witches, they're quacks, and we need to, you need to deliver babies in the hospital because, it's so much more scientific. And well, if you buy into that, of course, out of fear, maybe it's like, oh yeah, maybe I should go to the hospital if something goes wrong. Never mind that people have been giving birth at home for how long. So it's, and the things we see today, they're also based on fear, right? Fear of getting sick, fear of dying, and they're pushing some things to put in your body to, it's the same thing. It's the same method, right?
Right. And maybe later, I guess, when you finish up your talk about the practice of practitioners, there's something that I was explained, which is that doctors exchange, for elderly people, they exchange compassion and touch and that gentle talk for permission to cut on them and have surgeries. That's something that I heard of, but I'll let you go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So about the old system. So there's obviously a lot of well-meaning therapists there, but they're in the system, and they're basically doing working on symptoms and not of causes of illness. Whereas maybe before, the shaman or the medicine man would look at the total being and say, oh well, you're out of balance because this and that, and they would look at your tongue, or some they would even drink, smell your urine, or things like that. Healers, to get a more clear diagnosis. But now, well, in my country, when you go to the doctor, you have like 6 minutes to explain your problem, and they're already starting writing. When you start talking, they're writing their prescription already. So it's, you know, they don't have time for that. And but I think slowly it's changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be the same anywhere, I think. But except maybe in indigenous communities or people that are maybe more shielded from the modern world. But so yeah, what we did. So the founder of the method, which I'm gonna talk about a little bit later, Pete EGOSCUE is his name. He was a Marine. He was in the Vietnam War, and he came back all, well, he was wounded. He was all, you know, messed up from the war. So they tried to patch him up as well as they could, but he still had a lot of pain. So what he did, he didn't take no for an answer. They told him, well, you know, you have to live with this pain for the rest of your life. You're going to be in pain. Nothing we can do. So he's not a guy that accepts that. He's a you know, big Marine guy. He's a very strong and strong-willed individual. He's about, I think he's about 80 now. He's still alive. So in the early 70s, he started his own method, and he started by reading a book. He started by picking up a copy of Gray's Anatomy, and he taught himself everything about anatomy, physiology, and so he started on himself because he was in the shower. He was looking down at his feet, and one foot was turned out like this, and the other was turned out like that.
Pronated. Right?
Yeah, pronated. Yeah, and so well, everted we call it, because pronated is more like this.
Ah.
Yeah. So yeah. So if you look down and your feet are not straight like this, but everted, that's not what it should be. So in his book, The Gray's Anatomy, I think he said the first sentence I read was the human is a biped, symmetrical biped, or something. And he looked down and he said, I'm not symmetrical at all. And my left kneecap is turned out and my right kneecap is turned in, and I'm a mess. My hip is higher. So he said, no wonder I'm in pain. So what he did is he devised a set of exercises, and he used some different methods. He did some yoga, Pilates. He incorporated that into his method, perfecting it, and practicing on himself first, and then on his friends, and then, you know, one thing leads to another, and before you know it, he had a van driving around San Diego to help people. So that's how it started. And yeah, that's early 70s, like 71, I think, 72.
Wow. And you said Gray's Anatomy. I thought it was just a TV show.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Well, a book.
It's a book. Yeah,
yeah.
You can buy it. It's still a good book. I mean, you know, the body doesn't change, right? So it's a good reference book to have. I don't have it, but I have other books. But so what he found out is that you have to treat the body as a unit. It's one organism. We know that. Well, I'm going to get into that with a few sheets later. So let me see. So can I share this? I can share the screen, right?
And how do you spell his name, Peter?
Peter. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat, right?
Okay, cool.
Peter EGOSCUE.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you say the Gray's Anatomy book basically explains how to treat the body as a whole, or what he did?
No, Gray's Anatomy is just, well, it's the book that medical students use to learn anatomy. It's a mainstream book, but Pete used the book to learn about anatomy and learn about symmetry and about muscles and bones. Obviously, he needs to have a foundation in anatomy first and physiology.
Yes.
He built his method on top of that. So, yeah.
So it's basically like he used it to teach himself about the body, basically, exactly. and then come up with his own methods, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's basically he devised a way to help yourself and not be treated by others, which is one of the big differences between what we do. And if you go to whoever, who's going to treat you, put you on the table, manipulate you. So that's not done. We do a hands-off method. So which is why we can do it online as well. I have about 50-60% of my clients are online through Zoom. I can explain how that works a little bit later. But so how I was introduced to the methods was because I was in pain, as you can see on this sheet. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I had a lot of low back pain always, and I thought, well, that's just normal. I have sitting profession, and I had some pain in my elbow, my arms, and I thought, well, it's normal if you use a computer. Obviously, it's not. But then a friend of mine introduced me to this method. We were actually together in a spiritual community a couple of years ago, like 10 years ago. And then we had a retreat somewhere in England. And at that time, I had this really bad lumbago, we call it, so the lower back pain. And he was also a doctor. So I asked, can you not prescribe me like a pill or something to take away my pain? He said, no, we're going to do exercises. So the last thing you think about when you're in excruciating pain is to do exercises.
Yeah, you want to avoid it. So you called it, because this is lumbar pain, so you called it lumbago?
Lumbago, it's called.
Lumbago, so, okay.
Yeah, well.
It's okay. I just wanted to get that word clarified.
Yeah.
Lumbago. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that should be the English term as well. But so basically low back pain over the whole width of your back. And I could, you maybe some people, they know it's, you can hardly walk. You can just crawl around the floor and you feel like 100 years old. And so I had a really bad fit of that. And this friend, he said, no, we're going to do exercises. So I said, okay, well, I have no choice. So he put me in one position, which is one of the main exercises in our method. And the pain was immediately gone, from like this, it was gone. So like, this is really interesting. So that's actually the moment that I decided to become a therapist myself. I thought, well, if you can take the pain away with one exercise, it's worth it. And at that moment, it sounded a bit like magic. Like, oh, well, this is like magic. But later on, of course, I understood the method behind it and why he had chose that exercise. So we exercised for a few days, and then my pain basically went away and never came back. It's like 10 years ago, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty powerful experience. Let me see. So
this sounds like something the Veterans Hospital could use. Oh, look at Patrick.
Yeah, so that's me with so this is the EGOSCUE. I'm an affiliate, which means they have franchises, mostly throughout the US. I think like 25 or 30 clinics in Florida, California, well, all over the country. Well, it's not much in the whole of the country. They have like 25 or 30 affiliates, franchises. And then apart from that, there's people like me who did the training and they have their own company. And they're all over the world, but also mostly in the US. In Europe, it's not so well known, in fact. Yeah. So here you see some of my hobbies. Body pump. I like animals. Well, anyway, so it's enough about me. Let me see.
Can you use this to help animals?
I guess you could, but
okay.
No, I guess not, because you have to be really mindful of how you do certain exercises. I think animals are smarter than people in general. So, if there's something wrong with their body, they stretch, they go sprint, they do something, and I think humans are a different category, right? Yeah. So let me show you this, this is partly, don't mind the Dutch text here, but this is an example of someone who has low back pain, like I did. And so this person goes to the doctor, and this statistic says that 93%, 92% of the people, they cannot find the cause of the pain. So the doctor is going to say, I don't know, this is a specific back pain. We cannot help you. We don't know what it is. Just go home and walk it off, whatever. So that's really shocking. You know, the first time I heard of this statistic, I was like shocked. I was like, you cannot find any cause. And if someone like this walks into our practice, we can immediately find out why they're having low back pain, because as you can see, the pelvis is here, it's tipped forward, which means it's rotated, which creates a this lower back that is really arched, which creates in turn a lot of pressure on the vertebrae of the back, which can lead to herniated discs and all kind of things. But at least low back pain. This is what I had as well. Forward.
I want to interrupt because I guess I've always heard when it comes to car accidents and things like that, you know, whatever the injury is, back pain can't be measured. So no one could tell you that, no, you shouldn't be in this much pain, or I guess it leaves the rooms to, like you say, to not be specific on how to fix it because there's no measurements given on what the damage should be for a herniated disc. Where what you're about to say is one injury could lead to more injuries based on the compensation, right?
Oh, yeah,
like how you can go, how it'll end up getting worse. But
for sure, it's like a leaning tower. It creates over time. It can create more and more problems, and the body starts to compensate, starts thinking of solutions, and this is what the body does. It tries to keep you moving. It tries to keep you active. But this creates other problems. So we need to go back to the first issue in the first place, and not treat all the corrections and all the compensations.
I really sympathize with people who suffer from chronic pain and has no physical symptoms. You just go into the doctor and you just tell them, I'm in so much pain. And a lot of these people are turned away because it almost seems like they're trying to project that these people are seeking drugs versus actually getting help. So somebody who's also suffered from chronic pain before, I really, really sympathize with people who don't really have a physical, like it's not obvious looking at somebody how much pain they're actually in. There's a lot of people suffering like this, and I'm glad there's people out here who are actually addressing the pain versus turning them away and keeping them in that pain. And that will eventually can result in somebody maybe turning into street drugs or some other drugs just to try to get some relief from what they're feeling. So it's great that somebody's actually addressing this.
Yeah, and even empowering people that you can do something yourself. You don't need to rely on drugs or some other practitioner is going to fix you. Because what often happens, you go to a certain practitioner, be it a chiropractor, massage therapist, whatever, and then you're out of pain for an hour, a day, and it comes back. So you need to get to the cause of it. It's like you have a leak and you're constantly mopping the floor, and it's, after a day it's wet again, and so you need to turn off the water, right? So that's the difference between what we do and treating symptomatically. Very important.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're a veteran like me, they make you wait so long between doctor visits. You will try to attempt to find a way to fix it yourself. But the whole model is flawed. Yeah.
Like, okay, so yes, they're going to tell you, you need to come back in a week, and then we're going to work on this, and we're going to fix this and fix that. But it's not about that. It's about empowering you to understand, which is what we do. We try to help you to understand why you're in pain.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's also what I'm trying to say here on the bottom right of this picture, that this is the, let's say, a therapist, this is you, and you need to ask the right questions. You need to be critical in your questions. For example, there's, you know, sometimes people, they hear, oh, it's your age, or it's your activity, it's, you know, you're running or you're playing tennis, so that's what's causing your problems. It's not usually. It's like, say you have a right knee that hurts, and they say, oh, it's old age. And so what about your left knee? Is it not the same age? Why is it the right knee, not the left knee? So just ask the
You
right
made me
question.
laugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you hear or you get like a diagnosis that's not really a diagnosis, like, okay, you've got bursitis, something like this, like a joint inflammation. Yeah, well, okay, it's interesting, but how did I get it, and how can I get rid of it? It's not just like, okay, now you have a diagnosis, you can go home, and now what? Now that's the difference. So always ask like critical questions, like, okay, so how do I get rid of that? How did I get this herniated disc in the first place? And will your treatment, will it really solve the problem, or will it merely address the symptom, like take away the symptom? If you have a herniated disc, they might do an operation, but if the cause of the herniated disc is not fixed, then it will come back, or you will get another herniated disc. So be, you know, that's what I mean with to be, you know, question everything, you know, that they say. Yeah, basically be and it's interesting that I have an example. You know, for example, you take your car to the garage because you have your tires, they don't, you know, they have wear and tear, not regularly. They only have on one side, like this, and then you have to change your tires every time. Or you can have your car aligned that your tires, they don't wear at the outside or the inside. So you can go to the nearest garage, and they say, oh, well, we cannot find anything wrong with it. Just keep changing the tires, and well, it's not really fixing the problem. Or you can get the transmission fixed, the alignment of the car. So, but the strange thing is that people, they take more care of their car than of their body, or they're more critical of their you know, their mechanic, or than their doctor, because the doctor is supposed to know. It's like an authority figure. It's like, oh, okay, you have bursitis. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. You know, just say, okay, well, so you get my picture, right? It's about being critical of any practitioner, health practitioner you are. Yeah. So let's so let me see. I have another one. So let's, yeah. So this is this is Tom Myers, which is another great guy who founded Anatomy Trains, which is a really nice system of, you know, you can look that up as well. It's a good book. Describes the now there's systems in the body that connect all the tissues, and this is also an original thinker, thought of a new system. But basically, what he's saying is that you're a system, you're a unit. Your body is a unit. You were grown from a seed. Well, we know how it works. You know, when the egg and the sperm, you know, you get and you grow. It's not that they put your hand on your arm, and your arm on your shoulder, and it's like a mechanical process. No, you're one organism. But still, there's so many therapists who treat the body like it's a mechanical thing. Like, oh, you have problems in your hand. Let's look at your hand. What's wrong with your hand? But 9 times out of 10, it's not, you know, the place where you have the symptom is not the cause of it. So if you have a pain in your hand, it can come from your hips, for example. That's why we look at the totality of the body. That's why we look at it in a holistic way, in fact. That's a very important, difference. You should not only look where you have the pain. For example, this is a realistic example because many people working behind a computer, they have forearm, elbow, wrist pain, repetitive strain injury, or whatever they call it. But that's often related to the hip on the other side. So if you have this pain on your in your right arm, we need to look at your left hip because it's probably not functioning properly. There's these connections in the body running vertically, transversely. There's all kinds of systems working together. So that's why we look at the whole, the body as a whole. If you come in with whatever problem you have, if you have wrist pain or if you have knee pain or back pain, doesn't matter. We look at what's going on in the whole body. Yeah. So let me see, I can show you something else. Well, yeah, so this is an example. You see the man in the green and in the red. So this guy has a good alignment of his joints, because we look at these joints: ankle, knee, hip joints, shoulder. So this transmits the forces.
Something's missing from your picture.
What's missing?
The cell phone, because
Yeah.
It makes me think about like how we put our neck down for the phone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to talk about that, but that was one thing my doctor talked about. I'm just being funny though with the picture.
Yeah, this is probably pre-cell phone, but anyway, maybe the guy on the left is looking too much at his phone, or he's sitting down too much, or he's not active enough, which creates these imbalances and these misalignments, which creates these hotspots. If let's say these two guys, they go running together, and well, we don't know who's a better runner, but we know the forces are much better distributed for this guy than for the other guy. So the chance of injury. So that's why we look at alignment of the joints. And well, I have a very interesting picture of that. It's a little bit mixed together. Let me see.
What's your opinion of those posture? It's like a harness for your back. What's your opinion
posture
on
braces?
that?
Yeah. Well, it's a tool, and you can use it, and it will probably help. But do you want to be dependent on a tool? It's like orthotics are also a tool. Like it's not focusing on the problem, but on the symptom. So maybe the cause that your upper body is not straight is not, you can fix that with the posture corrector, but the real problem is in the hips and in the pelvis. You're not going to fix that. So you're just going to perpetuate the problem, in fact. So we're not big fans of that, but of course you can use it in certain circumstances. But yeah, in general, it doesn't really address the underlying problem. So look at this guy, for example. Can you imagine he's in pain? And can you imagine after doing exercises that he has less pain? So this is before and after doing exercises, right? Pretty cool, huh? So this is the forward.
That's amazing, Patrick.
Yeah. This is front and back alignment, so that we say, okay, everything has to be on the same level, which obviously it's not for many people. And but you can fix it, as you can see. This is before and after. This is not my client, but this is an EGOSCUE client. And the same from the side view. You can see, well, this guy is not really aligned well. After exercises, much better. No? So you can fix your posture, but it's not. Many people are told that they have to pay attention the whole day, what they do. They have to walk up straight. They have to tighten their abs, for example. But it's not like that. Let's look at this. Look at this guy doing surfing. Do you think he's worried about keeping his abs tight and his back straight? thinking he's balancing the board, and he's thinking, oh, I need to stand up straight, and I need to. No, the body will do it on its own.
I was wondering about that because as we sit, like my feet are sideways to the right. I got my hand on my, my head on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how much of this makes it worse versus how much exercise you need to make it better.
Yeah. So, the problem about paying attention the whole day about what you need to do is, what if life throws us a curveball, like changing a baby on the table and the baby decides to roll, or you need to catch yourself walking off a curb, or, unexpected things happen in life. You need to reach behind to get your purse in the car. So are you thinking all the time of, okay, I need to keep my pelvis forward, I need to keep my back straight? It's not going to work all day. You need to be, well, your body is aware of what it needs to do, and we need to get back to using the intelligence of the body to determine, and not thinking about it all the time, because when you start thinking, it's too late anyway. So we're going to do a few exercises later that you can feel the effects before and after as well. So let me see, I have this. So,
what's your opinion on dancing, like twerking? No, I'm just kidding.
any movement can be good. I mean, just switch it up, If you go twerking, don't go twerking 24 hours. Maybe just like standing and sitting. And many people often ask me for a desk, standing desks or sitting. It's good to alternate. The human body is designed to move and not to sit still for 16 hours a day, or mix it up and go twerking and go having coffee. And
I love those desks that you can lift up and you can stand at or sit down.
Yeah,
that seems to be
it's good to switch, or if you have a call or a meeting, just walk, go outside and take your phone with you and have a phone conversation while you're walking. Just try different things to switch it up, because movement to the body is like nutrition. We need to give the body proper nutrition, proper fluids, sleep, whatever. But also movement is a first necessity of the body. So we need varied movement. Just sitting behind the desk all day, that's not movement. It's not, it's very limited. So we need to compensate that by doing other things.
Yes. Now, can I ask you, for those of us who have to repeat movements, for instance, like a mouse or something like this, and we're mostly relying on one limb or the other to do that, what would you recommend as far as that? Because obviously we have to repeat the same movement over and over and over again.
So there's several things you can do. There's ideally you would become ambidextrous, so you would be able to use your mouse with the left and with the right hand. Or what many people found out that it's better is to get the mouse closer to your to your body, to the center of your body, not to go out so much. There's small things you can do, or you can use more ergonomic mouse. But the main thing is the basis is to make yourself, to work on yourself. You're the instrument that, holding the mouse to be as functional as you can, so that your shoulder is not locked in the forward position. Because if your shoulder is locked in a forward position and then you go, doing repetitive movements, it's much more damaging than if your shoulder joint is free. So it's a matter of becoming more functional and having complete range of motion in all your joints. Whereas most people, their shoulders are, they're stuck in a forward position. And that's, if you try to, for example, you have your shoulders in front and then you try to lift your arms, it's so heavy. But if your shoulders are back, it's so easy to lift your lift your arms and to move your. And what you can do is during the day, the working day, you can do certain exercises, which I teach as well, to break it up. So people that do this method, they not only have exercise to do at home, but I give them a set of exercises to do while they're standing at the water cooler, when they're standing in line, some simple exercise they can do to break up the sitting. So you're not going to sit for 8 hours and not move, but you do certain exercises to, to restore the range of motion. I don't know. Does that answer your question, Marvel?
Yes, I love this.
Yes.
So when you get to a point, just get up, move your body, like throw in a little stinky leg or something, just to get that motion going.
Yeah, because you need to make that part of your habit, make it part of your day, and it has to become more normal, And I know often people, they say, I'm not going to do this in the office. I'm not going to move my arms because I don't want to be silly. Well, what do you want to be in pain, or do you want to be silly, or do you want to be a trendsetter and people are going to do the exercises with you? I don't know. So, and there's also exercise you can do even during a Zoom session like this. Nobody will notice. I can do an exercise now, and you will not even see it. You will not even notice. This is actually a very good exercise I'm doing right now for my hips, and nobody can see it. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can teach you that as well. So, the posture, it goes, I just want to say that it's called posture therapy, but it's not, the end goal is not to improve your posture. The end goal is to get you out of pain. But posture is also influencing so many systems in the body, like the lungs, for example. The guy on the left, he has less lung capacity because it's his upper body is like this, compared to the guy on the right. Has much more free flow of breath, lymph system, so it can actually affect a lot of systems in the body. And I put also pregnancy in there because it affects also even the chance of becoming pregnant. This is, a topic for a different show maybe, but, we definitely had some women that got pregnant after improving their posture, and they were trying to get pregnant, and it's pretty cool. So many things are dependent on good posture, in fact. So I'm going to later on. So another misconception is that cartilage like this, when it's worn down, that it cannot grow back, but it can. It can easily grow back. So you see, this is an X-ray from the client of one of my colleagues in the US, in Kansas. And so you see, he had knee pain, this guy. You see the right knee, this is the right knee, the outside of the right knee, it's bone on bone. So you can imagine how painful that is. Yeah. So the first thing the doctor said was, of course, oh, well, we have to change that knee, change your knee, give you a knee operation. But he didn't want to. So what he did was posture therapy. And in the end, you can see, I will show you a picture after that. This is not a knee problem. This is a hip problem effect. So it's probably a left hip as well. So you can even postpone, or, there's so many operations that are done that are not necessary, in fact. Yeah.
That's amazing. When it comes to, I know you're talking about the cartilage in a knee, but the spine, because you were just talking about pregnancy, do you find that there's a lot of women who have these pains after epidurals? And is this something that you can address with exercise?
Well, I don't have specifically, I think in my country, there's not a lot of, not a high percentage of women getting epidurals. You know, I do know that with posture therapy, you can improve the chance of getting pregnant, and then to get through pregnancy more successfully through all trimesters, through delivery and postpartum as well.
I'm glad
because-
she said that though, because you don't know if maybe they hit your bone or if there's a space or a leak or what is it after the epidural where there's just chronic pain in that spot ever since then. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I know that's not your area, but I'm glad she brought that up.
Yeah, I was just curious if people come to your practice about that, but seeing as out in your country, they don't really utilize that.
Right. Yeah, we usually have more natural, I don't know. We have cesareans, of course, but not many epidurals, I think.
But even that, now it brings me to think like maybe something during the birth, can you get misaligned during birth?
Oh yeah, sure. You can get misaligned during pregnancy, you know, as things move and as a result of hormones getting, you know, more lax in ligaments, and so a lot of things can happen. So that's why if you know, there's a whole book about, and maybe I'll show you later. There's a book EGOSCUE wrote, Pain Free for Women.
Put it against your chest.
Oh, he just
put it against your chest.
He just pulled that out of the Aurora Borealis. Did you see
that?
that?
I was going to say out of the ether. I was going to say you pulled it out of the ether. Put the book up against your chest, Patrick, and then we can see it better.
Yeah.
True. But then, hold on a second. Yeah. Okay.
Pain Free for Women.
Oh, wow.
So this is not only about pregnancy, this is also about children, what you can do with children from the age of, well, 0, basically. 0 through old age, you know, all stages of a human's, especially a woman's life, from child to pregnancy to menopause, old age. He has exercises for all stages. So this is just one of the books that EGOSCUE has written.
I love a good book. Thank you, Patrick.
And well, you know, the main book which I recommend to read is Pain Free. This is the standard book. Yeah. But
thanks.
Yeah, so but the thing is that the method is very individual. So we need to look at your posture, what's going on in your body. And it's always better to do a personal coaching than a general, but it's a very cost-effective solution to start with the book. And many people, they start reading the books, applying the method, exercises, and then maybe they're 80% better. And then for the remaining, they come to us to work on specific exercises and to get to the cause of the pain. So I'm typing it in the chat. Yeah, so let me tell you something about pain, because that is really important. So never mind this text, but I found this picture on Twitter because the way we think about pain is so different from what you normally think about pain. We see pain merely as a signal by the body, like a little light that comes on and tells us, oh, there's something wrong. No need to panic. It's just you need to decipher what is the body trying to tell you. So, for example, you know, this is a story about two ladies, you know, two elderly ladies. They went to rent a car and they went for a trip. It was very nice until they, you know, this light came on and they were in panic, and they put the car at the side of the road and they say, oh, what we need to do now? We call the assist, you know, the motor assistance service, whatever. And he explained to them, well, this is just a warning that you're low on fuel. So then, you know, no need to panic, and you just get some gas and you're good to go. So it's the same with pain. So the light comes on somewhere, maybe in your elbow, in your knee, and it tells you something. So nothing more, nothing less. So what Pete says is pain is the body's voice. Listen to your body. Nothing more, nothing less. No need to panic or to say, ah, I'm broken, my body has given up on me. No, it's just a matter of understanding what is your body trying to tell you. So this is where also the coaching comes in. And this is the difference between going to a regular, someone who treats you, say he will take the pain away from you. But we help you to understand, what is going on. Why are you in pain? Why is your right knee hurting and not your left knee? Why is your right hip and not your left hip? So it's basically, it's the same as with everything. As soon as you understand something, then it's not something you need to fear anymore. So you say, oh, okay, this is my body. Because I also, sometimes I don't do my exercises for maybe a few days, and then something starts hurting, and then I know, oh, okay, I need to do this and that, and the pain is gone. So it makes you more self-sufficient, more understanding of your body. And yeah, so this is actually a very, very important part of the therapy, that it says, we're not patients, we're not broken, we're not sick. It's just saying you're out of balance, and don't make a big deal out of it. Well, I know pain is, it's not something you want, but just fix your balance, fix your posture, and you can do something about it yourself. And that's also why, people, they ask me about my method, and they say, oh, what about your treatments? And I say, it's not a treatment, because there's nothing to treat, there's something to understand, there's something to work with, and it's more like a coaching.
Yeah, I love that. And it's about getting better. It may not, heal it completely, but at least you can improve on it, and maybe even work up to finally treating it. If you figure out, okay, this is out of whack, that's out of whack. If you do this, this, and this, and build upon it, you can probably cure it. It's amazing.
So if you want, we can do a few exercises to a little demonstration. Are you up for that? Or maybe the viewers are? Shall we do that? Okay. So first, if you're gonna do this, you guys are at home, you're gonna stand up and just feel where your balance is. So you can close your eyes if you want. You can feel it better. So have your feet together, so your toes and your heels are together, and just feel where your weight is. Are you more to the left, more to the right, to the front, to the back? And just make a mental note of it. You don't need to, share it or something, but just remember where your balance is, or are you out of balance? And now we're going to do 3 simple exercises, in fact, and then we're going to test again. So first, you're going to have your feet about fist width apart. So not too far apart, and make sure that the outside of your feet are straight. So don't have your feet inverted, like I explained in the beginning, but have them really straight. So the outside should be parallel, which probably means it feels like you're pigeon-toed. You're like to the inside, but it's okay. So now, what is really important is to look at the hand position as well. We call this the modified golfer's grip. You're gonna do like this. So don't make a fist, but just first make a hand like this, and then have your hands on shoulder level to the outside. Your thumbs are pointing forward, and you're gonna make circles around your shoulder. But look down at your feet, because they're probably already turned out again. So turn them a little bit in, maybe. Or you can ask yourself, why are your feet turning out? It's an interesting question. So make sure that your elbows are straight, that the motion, the rotation comes from the shoulder, not from the elbow. So now you're gonna rotate your arm. So your thumb is back and your arm is up, and then you're gonna move the other way. So backward. Might feel different or harder. Look again down at your feet. Make sure that they're perfectly straight on the outside. Probably have to turn them in, point them in again a little bit. All right, so that's enough for the first exercise. Just shake your, you know, you can do a little twerk, whatever, to shake up your body. Not naming names, but yeah. So the second one is going to be the same stance. So your feet are going to be perfectly straight. The outside of your feet are straight. So this is not straight, this is straight. You're going to have the same hand position, but now you're going to put it on the temple. So you're going to put the knuckle of your middle finger on your temples. Your elbows are back, and you're going to try to get them to touch in front and go back again, which might not be easy. Just try to do what you can. Just do like 20 of these. Look down at your feet. Are they still straight? I hope so. Point them in maybe a little bit. Make sure that you go all the way back. All right, so let's shake a little bit again, a little dance. So the last one, I'm going to show from the side, because you're going to interlace your fingers and push your hands forward so that your arms are straight. And then you're going to rotate your arms up, but not by pushing your pelvis forward, not arching forward. You're going to stay in a straight line from shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, and you're going to rotate your arms up. Look at your hands. Just hold this for a minute, 30 seconds. Are your feet straight? And if not, why not? So just try to hold it. Maybe a couple of seconds more. And always adjust it to your own level. You know, if your body says it's enough, if you're in pain, then it's enough. Okay, so let's shake again. So now close your eyes again, or put your feet together like in the beginning. Toes and heels touch. And feel again your balance. Is it different than it was, or is it, you know, more towards the middle, more towards the front, the back, the left, the right side? How does your body feel? So these are just, you know, a few examples of exercises.
I already feel a difference in my stance. That's
You do?
awesome.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's good.
because I was more towards the back, towards my heels, but now I'm more centered.
Ah, great.
All of my foot.
Oh, great. Yeah, so this is just a general, there's like 400 or 500 exercises like this in our method. And obviously the ones that are right for you, that are probably not going to be these ones, but these are just some short examples of what you can do. So even after what we did, like 3 minutes, you already feel a difference in balance. So that's great. So can you imagine if you do 10 minutes? Sorry?
So we're not cured?
Well, if you repeat this every day, so the idea is that you repeat this every day, and then maybe do a little more, and do exactly the exercises that are right for you, and then you're gonna definitely be better. Yeah. So,
I'm
That's
a work
exciting.
in progress. That's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
say. I'm a work in progress.
work in progress. So yeah, what is posture therapy is it's not being aware 24 hours a day of standing up straight. Not at all. It's let me see. We did this one. Yeah. So yeah, so the site of the pain is rarely the source of the pain. You know, ask questions, and your therapist is going to help you with that, explaining why exactly your left hip hurts, your right hip doesn't, because there's a logic to it. It's not magic. It's not it's not woo-woo stuff. It's all logical. You know, why is your left shoulder hurting? Why is your left hip, your right hip? And you need to find out and then cure it with exercise, because your muscles determine the position of your joints. The muscles are, you know, in charge of putting your joints in a different. So if you change your muscle tension, your muscle balance, it's going to change the position of your joints. So that's what we do.
Now,
that's
Patrick,
why
I know you mostly talk about muscle and skeletal, but what about nerve? Can nerve also be helped with this?
Well, what sometimes happens is that nerves, they get trapped under bone positions. For example, sciatica is where the sciatic nerve gets trapped underneath maybe the pelvis or the hip, and by realigning the hip and the pelvis, the nerves are more free to run the way they would, because, you know, like in the shoulder and the hips, it's really like a super highway of nerves and every blood vessels. It's very cramped in there, like in your wrist as well. So in order to make more room, it's going to cause the nerves as well to run more freely, not be trapped underneath the bones. So yeah, we deal with nerves in relation to bones, and you know, if that is the cause of your pain, then we can help it with posture. Obviously, there can be other things going on with the nerves, but
yes, well, that's excellent to hear. I like that.
Yeah. So this is the guy, Peter EGOSCUE. This is how he was when he started, and this is him now, more or less. This is a couple of years older. Actually, he lives in Florida now, in Jupiter, I think. So he moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and he's no longer, well, he might be still active. He worked with, you know, also at least one US president and a lot of, you know, sports people and Olympic athletes, and he still has some high profile clients that only want to see him, but for the rest, he's not active anymore. So what he basically said was, like, we need to get back to this blueprint, have our joints aligned top to bottom, left to right, because more often than not, one hip is higher than the other. So if you look at in the mirror, look at, you know, is one knee higher than the other? Is one turned in? Is one turned out? How is one foot turned out? Is one foot pronated? And that is basically, if we go back to this this blueprint, then we can get ourselves out of pain. That is our method, to use exercises to get more aligned. Because if one hip is higher, it's usually functional, and we can use exercises to make the other hip functional again and align the hips. And we work with the muscle memory, which this is like a depiction of the muscle memory, as you were talking about nerves as well. So this includes the central nervous system, because in order to make changes to your pattern, we worked with a pattern. The reason why you're in pain is that your body has the wrong pattern of movements, and you repeat that, and you keep repeating that. So you can go to the, whatever it is, osteopath or chiropractor, massage therapist. They can, you know, align you, but your body is going to go back to the original programming, original pattern, which is the wrong pattern, which causes the pain in the first place. So to make permanent changes, you have to change your pattern. So that is why we do the exercises every day. So it's not enough to say, okay, I'm going to do 3 times a week, I'm going to do this exercise. No, you have to do every morning or every evening. You have to do these exercises.
Because the point is the muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
You're working towards that muscle memory.
You're changing the muscle memory. You're improving the muscle memory to make the muscles and therefore the bones more aligned. Because, you know, if one hip is higher, 9 times out of 10 it has a postural or muscle, you know, cause in the muscles, and we're gonna rectify that. But in order to change the muscle memory, you must repeat this pattern, the new pattern every day. But it doesn't have to be long. It can be like 10 minutes a day. It can be enough, or even 5 minutes. Yeah, and they're simple exercises. You know, the ones we did, they were actually more complex than the ones we usually start with. We start on the floor, we start lying down, or you know, depending on what people can do. Maybe people, they cannot lie on their back. People are in a wheelchair. They can do sitting exercises. We adjust it to the person. Yeah, well, this is a good one. This is what we do. In fact, you probably know this proverb. So you can go back to the therapist and pay money every time and get a fish, or you can learn to fish, and which is what we do. We teach you to fish and take care of your body, and then you can eat for a lifetime, right? That's the
Love
difference.
me some Lao Tzu.
Yeah, Lao Tzu, yeah. And well, this is, well, you know, shortly, you know, so later on, if you're going to look in the mirror, you're probably going to see one of these deviations. The most common is the everted feet. And if you look closely, the right one is more everted than the left one, is more turned out. So that's not symmetrical. One hip might be higher than the other one. There might be a pelvic rotation, which is very common. Well, of course, this is very common, the head forward position, the rounded shoulders. So yeah, a lot of things can be going on, but the good news is that you don't have to deal with each posture deviation separately, because it's a unit, and one thing can be a compensation for the other. So say, for example, you have this hip elevation that often goes hand in hand with a rotation, because the body thinks, okay, so one hip is higher, so let's compensate this by doing some rotation. And the body has its own logic of solving problems. So what we do, we try to give you the least amount of exercises that can actually fix everything. So maybe you only need 3 exercises to fix your posture if you repeat them every day, because you know, you don't want to do an hour of exercises. Well, most of us don't. Yeah, so let me show you some more before and after pictures. So this is before and this is after on the bottom. So you see there's a big difference. Pretty impressive, huh?
Yeah, I've seen people that stand this way.
So age is absolutely not an issue. People often say, oh, I'm too old, or I'm too this, too that. No, it doesn't matter. Obviously, if you're, you know, I work with children as well. If you're 6 years old, you're going to improve probably faster than if you're 86 years old. But
Wow.
still, it doesn't really matter what age you have. You know, so this is I think this is before and this is after. So big difference. You know, before and after. This is also very dramatic.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very dramatic.
Did she have a car accident or something? Or I've seen somebody walk like this.
She had scoliosis, in fact.
Oh.
So people often they're told like, oh, you have scoliosis. So, which is, yeah, more a side bend in the spine. It can be an S curve, or, you know, it can be like this. Yeah, so they're often told that you cannot do anything about it, but that's not true. Or you don't have to have like an operation. Sometimes you can do it with exercise. You can do a lot, actually. So look at this guy as well. Look at the scoliosis in this guy, and look at the after. You know what is possible afterward. This is stunning, right?
They told us that more of us had scoliosis because of the way we carry book bags on one shoulder and things that we do when we're younger, maybe.
Yeah.
that we start to shape our spine improperly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the book bags. I mean, that was a big problem.
I know. So these are all, you know, from the franchise clinics, but these are some of my own clients. So this is a senior guy, is almost 70 years old, and he wanted like a short set of exercises. He said, yeah, I'm going to do in the morning, but not too much. So I gave him a 13 minutes program, and well, you see before and after doing the exercises, there's a big difference in alignment and pain, because it's not about alignment, it's about, he had a lot of back pain, upper back pain, lower back.
Gosh.
So and actually this was my youngest client. This was like an 8-year-old boy. This was through Zoom. This was someone in, somewhere in South America, in fact. So his mother called me and she said, I'm worried about his, the position of his Achilles and his ankle. And, so after two and a half weeks, you see that the right ankle is already straight. And I think a week later, the left one was also completely straight. And he could do everything in school again. He could participate in gym class and things. So actually children, they move really quickly. They change really quickly. And this is also an elderly lady, like 70 years old. After 6 weeks, her hips are much more level. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, huh? And,
Very. Just after 6 weeks. That's amazing.
yeah, or probably earlier, but yeah. So I promised you this one, this guy with the knee, bone-on-bone knee. So they took another X-ray a year later, and so you see that the cartilage has regenerated.
Back. Excellent.
Yeah, because if you let the body regenerate, then it will heal itself, and so it was never a knee problem. It was always, you had to look at the big picture, at the hip function, and yeah. So
I'm happy for him. He got his knee back.
So actually, Deepak Chopra wrote a preface in the book. So it's a process. It's consisting of a set of, the exercises are a combination of stretches and strengthening exercises to help align the body better. Nothing more, nothing less. And it's a specific order of exercises. How the system is set up in a way that you follow up a certain way of doing the exercises to make it more effective and more efficient. So that's basically it. And what we do, if you come in, either digitally, which is totally possible, you don't need to come to a clinic. You can do it all online. You send in your posture pictures, which is front, back, and sides. And then we can see what is going on, because, one hip might be higher. You can see his left hip is higher. You can see there's rotation, left forward rotation. So you need to have a little bit of an eye for that. But if you look at the big picture, for example, you see his right foot is more turned out than the left foot. So there's lots of things going on in his posture. And we can do like maybe a test of how you walk. And then we know what kind of exercises to give you to fix your issues, like, in fact. So that's basically how it works. So we, and some they have more time to do exercises, some they want more intensive exercises, and yeah, and what is very important in our method is the intensity of the collaboration, because it's not like you go to the doctor and they give you something and you come back in 2 weeks, but in between you need to be able to ask questions, or I'm going to ask questions. How's it going? Do you have any questions? Do we need to adjust anything? It's a partnership, in fact. It's a partnership. So yeah, let me see what else. Yeah, if you don't change anything, then it's probably not going to change magically.
Did you have a slide on how to contact you or your facility?
Well, no, we can put that in the, we can put it in the
Notes.
Yeah,
Got
in
it.
the notes. Yeah, because so there's many things you can do. There's EGOSCUE clinics all over the US, but no, you can work with anyone who is certified, in fact, and can work online. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to go into a clinic to be able to do this. You can work with anyone, with me, or with anyone of your choosing, and I can help you find a therapist as well. So we can put it in the description, Erica, later.
Super.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any questions for now? I guess I might have forgotten to mention things, but I think I got the gist of it. But,
Yeah, thank you so much. I think you pretty much answered all of my questions.
I think that the
your
most important
presentation.
point to take away is that you can self-empower yourself to change. That you don't need to rely on others to fix you, to fix your pain, but you can learn how to do it yourself. I think if you take away anything from this, it's that there's so much you can do yourself to find out why. This is the most important question: why? So why is my right knee hurting and my left knee is not? That's weird. Look in the mirror. What is different, left to right? And yeah.
Well, thank you for empowering all of us to heal ourselves.
Yeah. No problem. So I'm back on the
I
big
couldn't find
screen.
the button.
Yeah.
Well, this was great. I was looking forward to it. I already told my sister about it. She was excited. So this is just definitely something that we can all use. I think when we go to the doctor, like me as a veteran, going again acupuncture and going to the chiropractor, and they really tell us like, well, you can't do this forever.
Yeah.
But they don't really offer any solution besides drugs or surgery.
I know.
That it becomes very disheartening and somewhat depressing, to have a problem that seems to have no solution. But here you are with something that no one really is telling. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
And you're saying this man figured this out in the 70s. That is 50 years.
I know. It's our whole life, right? So
right.
Yeah.
He figured out my problem before I even had the pain. So, it's just very delightful to be able to hear a solution and to see someone making.
But it's also a different modality. Like it's not okay. The old world is like, okay, there's the expert in a white coat or whatever, and used to be a man with a big glasses, and he writes something down. No, it's like you're partners and you're equals, and you're not. You know best about your body. You live in your body for how many years, and I don't know about your body. You tell me what's going on. I don't pretend to know everything. We're not. It's like I think in some medical profession there's a little. I don't want to say arrogance. Well, I do want to say arrogance, but
I think they have a handbook for ego.
Yeah. What? Sorry. Yeah.
A handbook for ego.
I don't know. It's like sometimes they don't want to admit that they don't know. So they say, okay, we have a diagnosis for you. And you're like, well, yeah, okay. So what am I supposed to do now? Yeah, well, we don't know. There's incurable, or, there's nothing worse than for your immune system than someone saying to you, what you have is incurable. And you go home like,
I actually had one of my doctors, as I was explaining my back pain and my neck pain about the clicking, and she said, yeah, me too. Look. And I was like, I'm not here to listen to your pain.
I know.
But she felt it was normal. And I was thinking, why do you think it's normal? That doctors have accepted that it's normal.
I know. Yeah, it's
I think
weird.
They're very complacent with their ideas on healing. Like once you've learned this, you think that this is the only way.
Right.
So you become complacent that this is the only answer and there is no other solution. But yeah.
Right. Well, it's also the the problem of the hyper specialization that everyone is getting more. I had a client that did a session with me, but she was convinced that she needed to see a hand therapist because her problem was in her hand. So she went to this very expensive hand clinic that's going to fix her hand problem. But I say, no, it's connected to your shoulder, to your hip. Come on, it's not your hand. It's
usually call that radiopathy or radiculopathy. I don't know how to say.
Radiopathy.
Yeah, radiopathy, because it radiates from the spine into the shoulder, down the elbow, into the hand, right?
Yeah, so let's see if you have sciatica, if you have the sciatic nerve is hurting. Look at your pelvic position. Usually there's a tilted pelvis or there's elevated pelvis. And you don't need to work with pain medication. You can just fix your position. It's not what we say, it's not a condition, it's the position. That's a mantra that we use, or EGOSCUE has used. So, but it's the most important hurdle for people not to do this, to start, is that they don't want to do exercises at home. They want someone to fix them. So then it's not going to work. They want, give me a pill and then the pain is going away. Well, sorry, then that's not for you. And that's maybe the most important reason that people say, well, I want to see someone, but they have tried sometimes 20 different therapists, and then they come to us. They say, oh, I've been to this and to that, and dry needling, I did massage, I did chiropractor, I did blah, blah, blah. Nothing helped. And then they come to us, and then we have a 94% success rate. So that's interesting to say as well, so very high success rate, 94%. If you're willing to do the work, that is important. But you got to do the work, right?
Right.
It's like the spirit, if you want to improve in any area of your life, spiritually, physically, you got to put in the work.
Oh, wow. There's definitely. That's the sad part. No, it's not the sad part, but
but you can be smart about it. You can be smart about it. So that's what we teach you to. Even even if you don't want to do exercises at home, we can give you things you can do in the office. That it's not your time, it's your your employer's time, whatever. So even then you can do things to improve. Even if you have 5 minutes, it's how many hours do you spend in front of the TV? How many, can you take 10 minutes of those to do a few exercises to stay pain-free? I hope so.
I think too, it's like an accountability. Like this is probably a whole different subject, but some people need an accountability partner. I think that's why people like to go to the gym, and then they want someone else to get their friend to get a membership at the gym so they can, have this. Are you going? If you're going, you're going. Unless you find a bad friend, a bad accountability partner who's like, no, I'm staying home. And you're like, okay, I'm staying home too.
Yeah.
So I think like a lot of people lack that motivation. They need someone to help them. And so it might be as much as what do you call it? An accountability partner. So even if you were doing this, you could still find you someone that's an accountability partner, maybe I don't know. We just need as much encouragement as we can to kind of get right. Because we're gonna be their partner too. We're gonna ask, hey, we can even see if you did your exercise. We have an app for your smart device. You can click. You have done the exercises. If you want, some people they say, yeah, can you check if and motivate me? Wow.
And some people they contact me every day and they say, oh yeah, you need to motivate me a little because I haven't done the exercise yet. But it has to come it has to be intrinsic, ideally. But sometimes you need to get the ball rolling first, and so we do what we can to help you or to make it easy for you.
That's cool. Yeah. That is the element of accountability. You've already built it in. That's really exciting. So,
yeah, we're committed. We're committed, and we just hope that the clients are committed as well, because we're really committed to making a difference. But So ideally, it's a partnership where you can. I say you can call me every day. You can send me messages to if you have questions. Some people you're really a therapist. Some people they tell you everything, you know, about their life and about their marriage, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's a much tighter connection than you might have with your with your doctor or with your chiropractor, or it's very intense. It's more intense collaboration, I would say.
Wow. Marvel, did you have anything else? I know you're
On the
in the travel.
No, thank you, Patrick. This was very informative. I learned a lot, and I'm gonna probably look further into certain exercises for myself. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we can look at that, of course, there's many ideas. I can talk to you know, Erica. We can discuss some things that we can do. Maybe some group exercises or some basic things that we can do, or you know. But in the end, the best results you will get from individual, you know, a program that is really geared toward your issues. But there's general things we can do as well. So we can look into.
Great. That'd be great. We could have Terry and Jonathan join us for some group exercises. We'll be like in Canada, Netherlands, and the US, all across.
Yeah.
A worldwide movement, literally.
Yeah, like get up and move, that get up and move thing. Yeah, get up and move. That sounds exciting. Well, I really appreciate you putting this together. I appreciate you taking the time to explain this to us. I'm really excited about any new ideas you have on sharing more about fitness and health. And I see your commitment to it. And I just really thank you so much, Patrick, because I know that you took the time to get the slides together and carve out your schedule. I'm so glad. And this is just someone we met at the conference for like 10 minutes. I don't think we even met that long, but it was so cool to make that connection. I thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we're all connected anyway. And, you know, the internet makes it so much easier to stay connected. And it's the next best thing.
Right. We're in this World Wide Web. So I thank everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get up out your seat and rewind and do some of these exercises and put it in notes. Let us know how it feels, if you saw any difference. Even go to the trouble of do a before and after and see if there's a difference in the way you rotate your feet or the way your hip stance is. That would be actually really cool to get some feedback. We'd love to hear that.
Look in the mirror. Yeah, look in the mirror and see what's going on.
Right. So we will say good night. I think we started with good morning, but we will say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Erica. Thanks, Marvel.
You're welcome.